Hi everyone, good morning. So for today's topic is all about table tennis, its history and its development towards the year. So what is table tennis? Table tennis, also known as ping pong or wiff waff, is a racket sport derived from tennis but distinguished by its playing surface being atop a stationary table rather than the court on which players stand. So it means that this game is played at the table. It's not the typical tennis that we saw on the ground. So, table tennis, net, and playing area. The table, which may be made of any materials that produced a uniform bounce, a 9 feet long and a 5 feet wide. The playing surface is 2.5 feet above the floor. The net is a 6 feet long and the net's complete length standard is 6 inches high across the playing surface. It is attached to the net posts which are positioned and to the middle of the sides of the table. The paddle and the ball. The paddle has only two parts, which is the first one is the blade or wood and the second one is the face, which is the part that is covered with rubber. The paddle may be of any shape, size, and weight. The blade must be smooth, rigid, and continuously of even thickness. The sides of the blade is already with the rubber, so basically it is called a.
So the mat ball is spherical with 2.7 grams and has a diameter of 40 millimeters. It is made of celluloid or similar plastic and may be white or orange. So, table tennis, there are different types of ball with different purposes. So, first, fun novelty balls are viable in many different colors and sizes and are particularly suitable for children and for recreational play. And the second of different types is practice and training balls are generally a shorter ball and are the best suited for beginner. And the third one is one star ball. So one star ball are suitable for use at school and youth clubs. And the fourth is two-star ball are suitable for use by improves or in a robot or for multi-ball practices. And the last one is three-star ball. Three-star ball is the highest quality balls that only authorized by the International Table Tennis Federation for use in tournaments. So, for the table tennis, there has a mechanics and rules of the game. So, table tennis is played in single or double. So, the players alternately hit a small plastic ball back and forth across the net with a rubber-faced wooden paddle. A player serves the ball by tossing it with free hand and hitting it with a paddle to propel the ball to the owner side of the table. If the servers is returned so that the ball strike the tables once on the far side of the net, the rally continues while one side is unable to make a good return. A match shall be played in best 3, 5, 7 games and each game shall be played until a player or team scores 11 or a player or team leads by 2 points if the scores becomes 10 by 10. Play continues. However, a player may ask for an one-time 1 minute timeout once the entire match. Other than this timeout, a 1 minute break is given between the games. Brief pauses after the cumulative 6 points may also be required to hydrate, to towel off, or to do similar things.
Scoring. A player gains point when his opponent first fails to hit the ball, second, fails to toss the ball for at least 6 inches high. Third, tosses the ball with cup hand. Fourth, tosses the ball starting from below the level of the playing surface. Fifth, catches the ball that is tossed. 6. Hides the ball during service. 7. Moves the table during rally. 8. Fails to let the ball go across to net. 9. Doesn't not let the ball hit the playing surface. 10. Volleys the ball. 11. Allows the ball to bounce twice in its head. 12. Strike the ball twice in hitting the return. 13. Strike the ball out of turn in doubles. Or 14. The last but not the least, fails to return the serve. The expedite system. Except if 18 points have been scored, the expedite system shall come into operation after 10 minutes of play in a game or at any time when requested by both players or pairs. Serving. At the initial part of the service, the ball shall motionless, resting free on the flat, open palm of the free hand of a server, behind the end line and above the height of the playing surface. Returning. A return is good when the ball passes over or around the net or it supports and strikes the opponent's end. A return may touch the net or its support as long as it's in the opponent's end. A ball ceases to be in play if it touches any foreign objects. Let. The rally shall be in let if. First, during service, the ball touches the net assembly as it passes over it, provided that the service is legal. Second, the service is given when the receiving player or team is not ready, provided that neither of the opponents tries to return the ball. Third, failure to make legal service or a legal return or otherwise to conform with the laws is due to an interruption outside the control of the player. And fourth, play is interrupted by game officials. The orders of the play. In singles, the server first make a good service. The receiver then makes a good return. Thereafter, server and receiver alternately shall each make a good return. In doubles, the server makes a good service first. The receiver then makes the return. The partner of the service makes a good return. The partner of the return makes a good return. And thereafter, each player in return in that sequence shall make a good return. The order of serving, receiving, and changing of ends. First, the right to choose the initial order of serving, receiving, and end shall be via a toss of coin. The winner of the coin toss shall choose first. Second, when one player or pair has made a choice, the other player or pair shall have the other choice. Third, after 2 points have been scored, the receiver shall become the new server and the process is repeated until the end of the game, except if both players or pairs gain 10 points, or when the expedite system is in process, of which the consequences of serving and receiving shall stay the same, but a player shall serve for only 1 point per service round. Fourth, in doubles, the pair having the right to serve first shall also decide which of them will receive first. In the next games of the match, the first server having been chosen, and the player who served to him is the preceding game shall be the first receiver. Fifth, in doubles, the player who received previously shall become the server, and the partner of the player who served previously shall become the receiver after each service round. 6. The first server in the game be the first receiver in the next game of the match in the deciding game, doubles match. The pair that is received shall change their order to receiving when first toss of points. 7. The player or pair who started at one end shall start at the other end in the next game. In deciding, the, the player or pairs shall change and when first player or pair gain 5 points.
So fundamental skills. So we have number one, we have grip. In table tennis, you may hold the paddle with either the shake hand grip or the pinhold grip. So um, the table tennis grip is important because it controls the paddle angle. So the angle of the paddle controls the height, depth, speed, and direction of the ball, and the type and amount of spin that can be imparted to the ball is um, is in the forehand side. So shake hand grip. Shake hand grip is appropriately named because you grasp the paddle as if you were shaking hands with somebody. So your pointing fingers extends over the bottom part of the rubber of the backhand side and your thumb slightly touches the rubber on the foreheads. And in the forehand side, so when we say shake hand grip, actually only three fingers and the palm grasps the handle of the paddle. So let's move to pinhold grip. Pinhold grip is also appropriate name because you hold the paddle just like a pen. So when you hold the paddle, it's just like a pin. So only your thumb and forefinger grasp the paddle at the top of the handle. Number two, we have spin. So spin, when you say spin, a good player uses spin while attempting to hit the ball onto the opponent's side. So spin makes returning more difficult. So there are three types of spin, which are the top spin, the back spin, and the side spin. So when we say top spin, top spin to the ball, you may angle your paddle to close position. So swing through the ball with a forward motion, slightly brush the top of the ball. It is predisposed to drop downward. Also, we have the backspin. When we say backspin to the ball, you must angle your paddle to open position. So swing through the ball but don't use as much speed as you would use in producing topspin. Slightly brush the bottom of the ball. Backspin ball is predisposed to rise. So a ball hit with a strong backspin is most commonly called a chop. And for the coach tip, spin affects both the trajectory and the bounce of the ball. Obviously, a backspin ball is the opposite of a topspin ball. The amount of topspin or backspin you may impart to the ball depends on how hard you swing at the ball. It is imperative that you understand spin. There is no way to win without understanding spin. For you to be able to read the spin imparted by your opponent, observe how your opponent positions and moves his paddle in hitting the ball. This way, you will know how to hit it back. So in number 3, we have the paddle angles. We have three types of paddle angles and or the three types of positions. We have neutral position, the close, and the open position. So when we say neutral position, with the paddle held and vertical position, the angle is described as neutral. So this is the ready position and is used when you are waiting for your opponent to serve. So in closed position, when steering side is angled downwards at around 45 degrees, the angle is described as closed. So this is the position used to play a topspin shot or a block against a topspin. So in open position, when we say open position, when striking side is angled upwards at around 45 degrees, the angle is described as open. So this is the position used to play at backs, like push or chop.
So the basic shots. We have to learn things from the easiest to the most difficult. Following this principle, start with a backhand push and then to the forward drive. Next is the backhand drive and finally the forehand push. The backhand push. To play this shot, stand close to the table and take a stance facing the line of the blade. Using a stroke, your racket arm should move forward from the elbow in a horizontal plane to the incoming ball. So with a backhand stroke, brush the bottom of the table with your paddle in open position so that you impart a slight backspin as you slap your right foot forward, placing it slightly under the table. For the forehand drive, stand close to the table in sideward manner facing the direction of play. So using a medium stroke, your racket arm should progress forward and a little upward in the course that the ball is directed. So while your free arm should point towards the ball to assist your body in returning and in maintaining the balance. So in executing the shot, your upper body should swivel approximately 45 degrees to the right, then turn to face the ball. So while your body weight is displaced from your right foot to your left, so the paddle should be slightly closed to impart a slight topspin. The backhand drive. So stand close to the table and take a stance facing the direction of play. So using a medium stroke, your racket arm should progress forward and a little upward in the course that the ball is directed. So the paddle should be slightly closed, and by keeping a loose rest, you can produce a slight topspin as your arm is moved forward. So hit the ball with a backhand stroke at the top of the bounce using half of your stroke action before hitting the ball and the second half after hitting the ball. The forehand push. Stand close to the table facing the direction of play. So using a short stroke, your racket arm should move forward from the elbow in a horizontal plane to the incoming ball. So with a forehand stroke, brush the bottom of the ball with your paddle in open position to impart a slight backspin as you step your right foot forward, placing it slightly under the table. So for the strategies, so using the basic strategy is to keep the ball in play for longer than your opponent could. So strategies generally rely on three main abilities. So the first is the ability to keep the ball alive on your end. The second is the ability to create openings by directing the ball to different areas or applying pressure by using varied spins and speed. And the last, the ability to let the ball die on your opponent's end. So having those abilities as foundation, use the following strategies to improve your match result. So first, utilize your opponent's limitation. So to play on your opponent's weaknesses, you will first need to find out what they are. So two ways to do this are to observe him while he plays or simply to play with him. So direct the ball to different areas of the table using diverse strokes, spins, and speeds until you find a weakness. So maybe your opponent is weaker with short balls or on the backhand side than the forehand side. Or maybe he is weak against high returns or against heavy backspin or heavy topspin. So once discovered, try to exploit his weakness. So the weakness may not always be where you expect it. Therefore, do not be presumptuous. Second, play consistently. So keep the ball in play for longer than your opponent could. By being consistent on your strokes, you can often gain points as your opponent will commit errors. So this doesn't mean that you have to be a defensive player. So but by executing consistently good shots, you lessen your unforced errors. So this makes your opponent impatient or making him commit the unforced errors. So the third, check your opponent's mobility. So test the level of mobility of your opponent by directing your shots to different areas of the table. So you can check out the most advantageous areas where you can place the ball to move your opponent or take him by surprise. So move your opponent to the sides by directing the ball to the wide forehand and wide backhand, or move him forward and backward by hitting short and long balls. So fourth is make variety of your friends. So don't play all same shots to the same areas on the table. So if you always play the same shots to the same areas, your opponent will more likely get used to them. So and be able to predict them by imparting varied degrees of top spin, back spins, or side spins to the ball. You can make it more complicated for your opponent because there will be a difference in ball's flight path and height of its bounce as a consequence. So use your own strength. So in the four strategies, we focus on your opponent and his style of play. So it is just wise to consider your opponent's style of play, but equally important are your own strength. So always try to dictate the match by imposing your style of play on your play. So for example, if you are an offensive player, so try to give your best shots early in the rally since you have complete control of the ball. So during a service, so serve in such a way that your opponent is forced to give a return that is favorable for a third ball attack. So this will prevent your opponent from dictating the course of the ball. So certainly every player has his has its own style of play. So that's all, and thank you.